My name is Cheryl Brown Henderson, and I'm the youngest daughter of Oliver Brown, for whom Brown versus the Board of Education is named. And what I do now is I'm the founding president of the Brown Foundation for Educational Equity, Excellence, and Research, which basically is an entity that we created in 1988 to preserve the legacy and make sure the tenets of Brown v. Board remain relevant for today. In our city, the NAACP there made a decision. Kansas, like Massachusetts, had started to look at this issue of segregated public schools in the 1800s. So the very first time African American parents organized a legal challenge was in 1881. So from 1881 to 1954, during that period, there were 11 school desegregation cases in Kansas. There were 3 in Topeka. So Brown v. Board was really a continuum of that. So for the community, for our family, for all of those who were involved, it was a matter of, we're going to try this one more time. The difference was going to federal court. McKinley Burnett, who was the president of the Topeka NAACP, he made the decision that, okay, we need to have a class of plaintiffs. How do we get them? And talking to the attorneys, young guys right out of law school, Charles Scott, his brother John Scott, and their partner Charles Bledsoe. So Charles Scott and my father had grown up together, as little guys. They'd gone to elementary school together and all of that. And so anyway, Charles comes to our home and, asks his old buddy, we're doing this, would you be willing? In our family, we had, at the time, 2 girls, Linda and Terry. And Linda was in school, Terry was entering school, and I was not here yet. I was born in 1950. So after a few weeks, Dad, this was not something that he did willingly. My father was not an activist. He was working for the Santa Fe Railroad as a welder. He was studying for the ministry. This was not on his radar. So when Charles came with his proposition, to join what they were doing, certainly he thought about it, and he did for quite a while. And it's my understanding from Mom that she was the tipping point, as she persuaded him that this would be something not only good for our family, but, you're studying for the ministry, and so really we have to think about the community now and focus on, being a leader in the community, and this is maybe something you should consider doing. So when Charles came back to our home, then Dad was ready to sign on. His only question, though, was, will there be other dads? Because by the time they came to our home, there were 9 people that had signed up, and they were all moms, married women, homemakers, but no dads. So they assured him they were not finished, with the recruitment, and there'll probably be more dads down the road. So anyway, in the fall of '50, when they were instructed to locate a white school close to your home, take your child or children and a witness and try to enroll, by the fall of 1950, there were 13 parents. That was the complete list. No dads. So my father ended up being the only guy, which in some ways I think bothered him a little bit. Everybody leaves a legacy. And being part of Brown v. Board, just by name, because of my dad being the named plaintiff, there is a sense of responsibility, at least how I view it. And I got the family together back in the 80s and said, okay, this is it. We need to take responsibility for this. Our name's there. That's the name people see. They don't see Briggs. They don't see Davis. They don't see. So we've got to do something here. That was the beginning of the Brown Foundation. It will leave a lasting memory, impression, of what Brown really was. And what Brown really was, and outside of the legal community, was individual families taking the risk to sign on to be plaintiffs. We've had loss of life, loss of jobs, homes burned, churches burned, people run out of town. Who knows that? All they think about is, in the field of public education, separate but equal has no place. Nobody really understands, what it took to get to that pronouncement on the part of Earl Warren. That's what this project will do.